so much for receiving our interview today. So, could you please just give us a brief idea about the concept behind Illuminations Center?
So, thank you so much
Yeah.
for having me. So, Illuminations is a holistic healing well-being center that focuses on holistic health, mental health, and personal growth. The idea behind Illuminations began with the intention to inspire people to live a more happier, healthier, and purposeful way of life. We began in the UAE in 2006 because, we found that the UAE was peaked in consumerism, but people were not really paying attention to who they really are and what truly makes them happy. So I wanted to create a platform for people to discover themselves, realize their true potential, and help them to become the best version of themselves. We have so many limitations that we have in our mind, in our emotions. And, these limitations limit us from being happy, from living a life that truly makes us feel that we are here for a purpose. And most of the time, we are living life based on what we were taught in our childhood, based on what our parents wanted us to be. But what is it that we really want? There's a voice that's within ourselves that's so powerful, and it's waiting to express itself. And all we need to do is find the time and the space to be able to reconnect back into who we truly are. Now, at Illuminations, how do we do this? We help people understand that everything in their life begins with a thought. Every thought that they have generates an emotion that they feel. So, for example, if they have a thought that I'm going to lose their job, right? The emotion is going to be one, which is anger or fear and worry and stress. If we continue to hold on to this stress, fear, and worry, it tends to affect our physical, mental, and emotional well-being. That's why doctors estimate that 90% of all the dis-ease that we experience starts from our thought. And if we don't work on our thoughts and heal our thoughts and resolve the issues in our thoughts, eventually it will lead to stress that we experience through headache, through chronic aches and pains, through all the illnesses that we face in the body. So it starts off in the mind, and if left unresolved, it influences you on the level of the body. So we wanted to bring the awareness to people that you can change your life by changing your inner self. Now, what has happened during the COVID pandemic is people were faced with so many challenges because coronavirus was something that was so unknown. We did not know what was going to happen tomorrow. And as human beings, when we don't know, that is when we have a fear, because we cannot control tomorrow, right? We don't know what's going to happen. And that creates a lot of anxiety with the unknown feelings. And so people were faced with so many different challenges, health issues, losing jobs, the stress of isolation and being alone at home. So all of these issues triggered all their mental health concerns, which were already there. But all those concerns rose to the surface. And despite all of that, we realized that we don't have control over what's happening, what's going to happen tomorrow or what's happening around us. But we do have the power to change what happens within us, right? We can't control the environment. We don't know when the pandemic will end. But what we can control is how we think, is how we feel. And that's why wellness and alternative practices have gained so much popularity, because it is helping people to find a way to cope with their stress in a very healthy manner. So releasing their stress through meditation, through breath work, to really trying to address their mental health issues, to helping them to understand their relationships and why they behave the way they do. Why do they think the way they do? And if they go within themselves and really try to heal the thoughts of the problems in their life, they are able to overcome them. So what alternative healing does is it works on the root cause of the issue, right? So for example, let's just say if you have a headache and you go to the doctor and then he'll give you the medication. But all he is doing is he's not really trying to address the root cause of the issue. He is just trying to heal the symptom. And the symptom is something that will reoccur. Because how many times can you take medication? You can take medication once, you can take medication twice. But if you continue to take medication and the issue won't go away, then you have a problem. So then a person starts to question and says, why do I have this headache? Where is this headache come from? Now we help people to understand that the root cause of the headache starts with the way you think. And all these thoughts are stressful thoughts that's impacting the body. And what we help you to do at Illuminations is go back to the root cause. It's like, for example, right? If you have the monsoon, right? You know, when the monsoon comes, right, the paint will get peeled off on the wall, right? And then what happens if the monsoon is over? What happens after the monsoon is over? You just go and repaint. But what happens if the monsoon comes again the next year? Again, the paint will peel. So what we help you to do is we go back into the holes and the cracks to understand what is the root cause of where the leakage is coming from. And once we understand the root cause and we cover it with the proper chemicals, we heal it. So the next time the monsoon comes, the paint won't wash away. And that's exactly how we treat all our issues in our life. Our health, our career, our relationships. All of these areas largely is related to what's happening within yourself. So if I'm happy within myself, if I'm happy with my relationship with myself, I can be happy with you. If I'm at peace within myself, I can express that peace in my job, with my colleagues, with my boss. You know, so we help people to try and find the inner calm within their life, regardless of how much chaos there is around them. Because you see, the chaos will never stop. The chaos will continue and continue. But it's the matter of us going within ourselves. And we all have the power to access that space of calm and peacefulness within us. So that's what we do mainly at Illuminations, to give you a brief background.
So how do you experience the change in terms of demand, in terms of people interest in seeking your help during the COVID-19?
Right. So there are many different modalities or health approaches that we take on. We believe that we are holistic. Now, what does it mean to be holistic healing? Holistic comes from the Greek word to be whole. So what does it mean to be whole? It means that you are not only just the body. You are also the energy. You are also your thoughts. You are also your emotions. And all these areas, your thoughts, your emotions, your energy, and your body has to work in harmony, has to work as a whole in order for you to be healthy, happy, and more productive in your life. Now, what happens if one of these areas is scattered, is fragmented, is unhealthy? It affects all the other areas. So at Illuminations, we offer holistic healing approaches, which will really truly try to address what's happening in your thought processes, what's happening in your emotional processes, what's happening within your energy space, and what's happening in the body. So for example, if you want to resolve your thoughts, we have a lot of mind science approaches. What is mind science? Cognitive behavioral therapy, psychotherapy, hypnotherapy, right? Then we focus on emotions. Then we have things like emotional intelligence, emotional tapping and healing process. Then we have working on the energy levels. We do Reiki healing, pranic healing, chakra healing to heal the energy body, right? Science says that we have this energy within and around us, which we call a life force, right? So we all have a life force, which means we have a pulse. Now, this energy field, it depends on the way that we think and we feel. Let's just say you wake up in the morning and you're feeling very happy about life. Your energy levels will feel very happy and high. You'll go to the gym, you'll be motivated, you'll feel passionate. But suddenly, let's just say your boss calls you in the room and says, you know, if you don't perform in 2 months, you're going to lose your job. All of a sudden, what happens to your thought? You start to think negative. Oh my gosh, what's going to happen? I'm going to lose my job. And after that, what's going to happen? Emotion is going to be what? One of anger, one of fear, one of stress, one of worry. And slowly, your energy will get depleted. and then you'll start to feel headache, low energy, depressed, right? So this energy is always constantly fluctuating. Why? Because of the way you think and the way you feel. When you come to a place like Illuminations, first, we as a practitioner will tell you that everything that's happening in your life is not happening to you. It's happening because of you, right? You are creating your life by the way you think, by the way you feel, by the way you act, by the way you behave, by the way you respond. And if you want to change your life, you have to change the way you think, you have to change the way you act, you have to change the way you feel, and you have to change the way you respond, right? So let's just say there's a breakdown happening in the office, right? It is how you react. Are you going to react through anger, worry, stress, or are you going to take a step back, take a deep breath, and reflect? And then think of a solution with a clear head, right? Nothing in life ever happened in a good way when you thought about it with a negative mind. So we address at Illuminations the negativity in your thoughts, the negativity in your emotions. Where are these negative thoughts and emotions coming from? They are coming from the mind. Where in the mind? They're coming from your experiences from the past. They are coming from your limiting belief systems. So for example, in your childhood, in class, if your teacher told you, you're a failure, you're a failure, you're a failure, in your mind, you start to, as a child, believe you're a failure. So even though you do very well in school, even though you get A grades and you're very successful, in your mind, you still believe you're a failure. And you grow up with that belief. And then sometimes you're going to now to get a job and you're going to like an interview. But before the interview, you're feeling so nervous. You're feeling so anxious. Why? Because in your head, there's a voice that's playing. You're a failure. You're a failure. You're a failure. And you don't even realize it. You don't know, why am I behaving like this? Because the mind is never operating from the present. You know, we have something called the subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind stores all your experiences from the past. So even though you don't remember those experiences, your subconscious mind still stores those experiences, still holds on to those experiences. And now in your later life as an adult, you are not operating out of the wisdom of who you really might be. You're operating out of the limiting belief based on what happened in the past, right? So we at Illuminations tell you, you are not your past. You are the present moment. So if in the past, if somebody told you you were not lovable, you were not good enough, or if you were scared, what we help you to do is go back into that past to really try to address those issues, heal those issues. So now you can choose to find what you want to believe about yourself. So if you want to believe, I am loved, I am deserving, I am successful, I am confident, you can feel that way. And that's what we help our clients to do. Through all the different processes, be it in energy medicine, emotional healing, healing your thoughts. So our wellness center focuses on healing with an integrated approach. We integrate the thoughts, we integrate your emotions, we integrate your energy, and we integrate what's happening on the physical body.
As you just mentioned, during the COVID-19, there are so many restrictions in place, isolation, quarantine, many. So what are the most common symptoms of the people or of the patients who are coming to seek your help during the COVID-19?
So there are so many different types of ways in which stress and anxiety and conflict can manifest, right? So for some people, it could be a relationship issue, right? You know, you're living with a partner for so many months together, you know, and that can create a lot of, problems in relationships, right? Or for example, you are away from your loved one and you cannot see them for 1.5 years, and you have this attachment that is also become an issue, right? Then, for example, a lot of people have challenges worth of job loss. They lost their job. They don't know when their next paycheck is going to come. So the anxiety of what will happen tomorrow, right? But largely, it has to do with anxiety. And anxiety can manifest as a health issue in the body or in the stomach for no apparent reason. It can manifest as a fear. What if I get COVID? I will be away from my child, right? It's the fear of the unknown, of what will happen. And I am afraid that I won't be able to control. I won't have that control. And every human being, right, loves to be in control. I love to be in control. You love to be in control. Because if we are in control, we feel like, relaxed. We feel that we are in charge of our life. But if it's an unknown, we don't know what's going to happen, we lose control. And as human beings, it's a very natural tendency to feel anxious. So I would say health challenges, the fear of getting sick, or relationship issues, or feeling that you've lost your job. And again, isolation, being all by yourself, right? When they say you're all by yourself, that is when your deepest and darkest thoughts, if you have a lot of issues from your childhood that you haven't resolved. Now, and you cannot go and socialize, you cannot go and drink, you cannot go and party, you cannot go and work, because nothing is there now. Now you have to be quiet and sit with yourself. And that voice gets louder. And if that voice is troubling you, if it's like it disturbing you, that is when it's going to create problems. It's going to start creating the anxiety. Now, it doesn't mean that the problem was never there. It's just an opportunity that because everything else is silent, the problem is now giving rise. So, we see COVID, we tell our clients, COVID has probably been the greatest opportunity that we as individuals can resolve the issues that were already there, right? We were just hiding them. We were just suppressing them. We were just repressing them because we don't want to think about it, right? Everybody tells you, think positive, think positive. But thinking positive can also be very not authentic, right? Because these issues are there, but you don't want to touch them. You don't want to address them. And then the more you leave them, the bigger they get. So we tell people, see COVID as an opportunity to heal your life. See COVID as an opportunity to maximize your potential. Because today we see, people who have so much money, they're still depressed. People who have no money, can be so happy. People who have the best job and best career are having problems, right? So we realize that largely our happiness is not outside. Our happiness is inside. So regardless of whether there's a pandemic or a relationship problem or issue, we realize that we have the power to access that peace and happiness within us, right? Peace and happiness is about the moments. It's about a state of mind. It's not about an experience outside. And we see, because if that were the case, the richest people would be the happiest people. But that's not true, right? The people who have relationship and children are sometimes having problems, so many problems, and they feel so lonely. So despite having husband, family, children, I know so many people who feel so lonely. So again, it doesn't depend on relationship. It doesn't depend on financial status. So what does it depend on? It depends on your state of being. And if we can keep our state of being through breath work, through meditation, through healing our thoughts, through all these different modalities, we at Illuminations like to provide the support and offer a platform where people can find that opportunity to heal these issues so that they can live the best life that they really find which is right for them.
So the mental issues relating to the COVID-19, does it take more time? Does it take you more time to heal your client?
Does it take you more time because of COVID?
The mental issue relating to the COVID-19, the anxiety, the loneliness. So they take more time for you. Than the normal in the normal times to heal.
It honestly depends on the individual and how willing and how open they are to healing. Sometimes in life, when we get a tap, we don't listen. We get a slap, we listen. We don't listen. We get a cut and then we're like, ow, now we listen, right? So the pandemic wasn't the problem, right? The issue was there before. It is how open we are to listening to the problem. And we can only do that if we quieten our life and tune into ourselves. So it completely depends on each individual. You find that some individuals want to accelerate this healing process. Why? Because they have the time. They're not distracted by their work. They have a healthy work-life balance because they don't have to go to the office all the time. They can work from home. So for some people, it has been very quick. And for others, it has been a slow process because it depends on when a person is ready to heal, right? I can take you to the lake, but I cannot make you drink the water. right? You have to drink the water for yourself. But I can show you, I can facilitate, I can guide, and I can support. But the healing, actual healing, always happens when the client is ready and willing and open. And because every individual is different, it is very difficult to say that everybody will heal in the same manner or in the same way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, do you see, do you experience a surge in demand during the COVID-19?
100%. There was a lot of people looking out and seeking our help. Our help, and it's funny that we realized that before the pandemic, I think mental health and wellness was looked upon as a luxury for those of people who had more time, more money. But today, wellness is no longer a luxury for all, it's a necessity for all. It's a necessity for us to live in a more happier, to be more grounded, to be more present. Because if we're not grounded, if we're not present, you switch on the news, how much negativity. You hear this person, every day we used to hear how many people are dying, how many people are getting sick, how many companies are closing down. And the world is full of people sowing the seeds of this negativity in us. And it is up to us, to decide how strong we want to be. Now, if we are weak, we become scattered. So whatever I tell you, you'll believe. You'll be, oh yeah, the world is such a bad place. The world is so depressed. The world is like this. The world is like. But if you keep your energy strong, if you keep your thoughts strong, if you keep your emotions strong, you become like a shield. So no matter what negativity flows your way, you're able to protect yourself. You're able to ground yourself. You're able to center yourself in your own power. Because you realize that, now it's the pandemic. After that, it's going to be something else. Tomorrow, it might be a loved one passes away. Tomorrow, it might be a relationship breakup. So life is not going to stop. And the chaos is not going to stop. It's how well we manage the chaos, how well we cope with it. And I think people are realizing that we don't have control over what's happening around us, but we certainly have control over what's happening within us.
Yeah. I fully agree with you. We are living in a society with more and more challenges growing from pollutions, from maybe another pandemic.
Correct.
Yeah, climate change. So, what is your visions with the alternative healing and wellness?
Wow, that's a very broad question. I would say that people are going in the direction where mental health is becoming the norm. Very soon you're going to see curriculums in school, especially from our childhood and our education. We are taught math, we are taught science, we are taught history, but are we really taught to be happy? How to be happy should be a course that should be taught in every school. How to manage your emotions, how to remain calm, how to become emotionally intelligent. This is something that is not taught in schools. And I believe the future will be, because we can be anything that we want to be. It's not about the math or the science. It's about life skills. It's about how we talk to each other. It's about how we behave with each other. All of the conflict in life is happening because people are always fighting, right? People are always creating their own problems. People are always unhappy. People always want to be controlling another person. So if we can learn to manage our emotions, to manage our inner self, right? I think naturally from our childhood, if we are taught this, the world will be a more happier and healthier place to live. If we are taught to love the environment, if we are taught to care for the animals, to care for everything around us and not just ourselves, if we are taught to love one another, I think all of this will start from childhood. So how I see mental health and well-being is that it will be a very normal thing. Like there will not be any blocks where people will have a problem and think, because I have a mental health issue, it means something is wrong with me, right? It will be seen as something very normal and natural and important. And I think it will be very present right from our childhood, right? If we learned what we learned today in our childhood, our life would be very different. And I think that is one of the big key areas that I see how mental health is going. Number 2, in corporate organizations. A lot of corporates and companies are really trying to to embrace this whole making sure your employees are happy. Because happiness, there's so much research that shows that happiness increases your productivity. And the company cannot just focus on the end goal of making money. They need to become more conscious that if they keep their employees happy and if their employees are at their maximum well-being, then the company will only gain. So I think in the corporate world, you'll see a lot of companies trying to adopt either meditation practices, work-life balance, and it is profitable. And as companies, as research starts to show that when people do meditation and mindfulness, they are more calm. So they are able to handle stressful issues. They are able to be more stronger emotionally when problems come. So if I'm in sales, I become more confident and find new ways in order to sell my product because I am complete within myself. And when companies start to see that happy employees equals more profit, I think they will start to invest more in well-being of employees. And I think in general, how I see the future of healthcare, science now shows the connection between the mind and the body, right? So the more healthier we are in our mind, and doctors say this, right? When you go to the doctor and he says, oh, you have a cold, and oh, you're going through a lot of stress. What is stress? Stress is something that starts off in the mind. And if left unresolved, it affects the body. So even doctors and scientists are now highlighting the strength between the mind and the body. And I think in hospitals, they will start to see individual not just as a body. Okay, I give you medication and that's it. They will see the individual as a whole in their thoughts, their emotions. So they will treat you as a whole, like Chinese medicine, or like in India, we have the Ayurveda, which sees the body as a whole, your thoughts, your emotions. And if I heal the body as a whole, I will be able to heal it more permanently, more effectively. And I will focus more on preventive health. So to make sure that the problem will not happen again, So I think these are the areas, be it in healthcare, be it in the corporate world, and I also think be it in education, is where we will see a huge rise in mental health, which is already happening now.